Okay, hello, good morning, and yes, we are live now. So please confirm, everyone, please confirm if I am visible and audible. Hello, good morning, good morning. Happy Choti Diwali to all of you. Happy Choti Diwali, good morning. Am I visible? Am I audible to all of you? Is my voice amply clear? Good morning, Chirag. Good morning, Ashish. Good morning, Subramani Krishna. Good morning, Jatin. Farhan. Farhan has finally made it to Nikkhil sir's live session despite of the college schedule. Brilliant, Farhan, brilliant. Happy Holi, guys. Happy Holi. Happy Choti Holi. Okay, I said Diwali. Happy Choti Holi, guys. Happy Holi to all of you. Yes, I am. Am I visible? Am I audible? I'm audible enough? Yes, I think I'm audible enough. Rani, Vidhi Podar, Junaid Alam, Yash, Jyotish, Vishnu Prasad, Anushka, Deepika, Common Trader, Junaid Alam, good morning, Junaid. Yashika Jotwani, Megha Tomar, Vishnu Prasad, all are live today. And yes, today is one of the biggest festivals, Holi, and still you guys are here attending this live session. Guys, this is in itself a proof that you are all set to conquer this mission of your life. And the mission is to clear the June 2022 examination. This mission, which we are chasing, it is very, very clear that even on a holy morning, even on a morning where, there must be a lot of festivities at your home, still you are here attending this live session. This is a proof. This is a proof that you are ready to conquer this mission. The mission is known as Mission June 2022. So many congratulations to you, first of all, because you have already taken the first step towards success. And that first step is to come out of your comfort zone, to sacrifice your pleasures for your goal. So that is one thing which you have accomplished today by joining in early morning live session. You have proved that fact, guys. So brilliant. Rahul says good morning. Hi, Rahul. Rahul SSB Gupta, Garima Jain, Deeptesh Das, Shilpi, Pankaj, good morning. Anushka, Sarneka, Kirti, Garima, Alfia, good morning. Gyanendra, good morning. Direct from the land itself, Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is, these days it must be oozing with people. So Gyanendra is from Vrindavan. Good morning, Gyanendra. Radhe Radhe Gyanendra. And it is the month of Lord Krishna. Therefore, all the good reason to rejoice in this month, because Fagun month belongs to Lord Krishna. Manisha, Chirag, Abhishek. Okay, good morning, guys. So let's start today's session, guys. So before coming on today's session, let me tell you, live revision series is on for all the 4 subjects of CMA Intermediate Group 1. Please make best use of this live session series. Your examination is scheduled in June 2022. Before that, if you attend these live sessions daily and regularly, guys, you'll be immensely benefited from these live sessions. So do attend these live sessions daily. On whatever days they are scheduled, do attend them regularly, because if you attend these live sessions regularly, you will be actually able to complete your entire syllabus and revise your entire syllabus in a very, very short span of time. Okay, so just attend these live sessions regularly. So this is the schedule of the live session. Please see the schedule of the live session. So Tuesdays and Saturdays, financial accounting, which is 12 noon, it has been preponed to 11:30 a.m. for this Saturday. Okay, this Saturday you have to join for financial accounting class. This Saturday, the coming Saturday, you have to attend the financial accounting class at 11:30 a.m. and not 12. Okay, the class is going to start half an hour earlier. Then costing, Monday and Friday, 2 days costing session is there, 5:30 p.m. in the evening. Then direct taxation, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Direct taxation is not only relevant for group 1 students, but also relevant for group 3 students. Guys, on the thumbnail, I'll be mentioning the topics which are particularly relevant only for CMA Final students. Those sessions should not be attended by CMA intermediate students. And whenever on the thumbnail I will mention that this particular topic is relevant for CMA intermediate students only, then those sessions should not be attended by CMA final students. So group 3 students also will get benefited from the direct taxation sessions. Last but not at all the least, Tuesdays and Saturdays, we have law and ethics session, 5:30 p.m. That's the schedule of the live session. Live session will happen on 2 YouTube channels, CSCS CMA Nikkhil Gupta and Bright Vision Academy. That is the that they are the 2 channels where these live sessions will be hosted, most of the time simultaneously, but sometimes due to network or due to some technical glitch, if they are not hosted on one channel, they'll be hosted on another channel. So do subscribe to these 2 channels and do watch them regularly for the live session series. And yes, we need to conquer this mission which we are chasing, mission June 2022, and not very far, guys. Now the mission, now the dates are not far. March has almost ended. Now you are left with April, May, and yes, a major part of June. That is the time limit which is there with you. So please consider studying hard now. Please forget about all the festivities. Festivities are going to come to your life every year. Holi is going to come every year. Diwali is going to come every year. But this opportunity of conquering the examination will not come every year. So please be very serious towards your studies. And if you face any problem, you can call me on my WhatsApp number, on my calling number, and I'll be able to help you. 9 to 11 daily doubt sessions are happening. 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, daily 9 to 11 doubts sessions are happening on the numbers which you can see on your screens as well. I will flash the numbers on the screen so you can touch base with me on those numbers so that you can contact me. All right. So let's start session 2 of residential status. Residential status is one of the most important chapters of your syllabus, not only of intermediate. So before 2019, we used to think that residential status is only relevant for CMA intermediate students. But guys, residential status is also relevant for CMA final students. So CMA intermediate students and CMA final students, both of them must prepare this particular chapter, residential status, very well, because it is important from both of their perspectives, CMA intermediate as well as CMA final. Both students will get benefited from this particular chapter, residential status. Yes, CMA final students can also get a question from residential status in their examination. Guys, in the last session, we had studied certain aspects of this particular chapter, residential status, and the aspects are: what are the objectives of this chapter, residential status? Why do we compute residential status? What is the utility of residential status? That is the first thing. Difference between a citizen and a resident. Why is citizen relevant? Why is resident relevant? And from an income tax perspective, guys, citizen is very least important to us. What is important to us is resident. If you are a resident of a particular country, then that country's income tax department get a right to tax you. So that right of taxing a particular person is arrived at the income tax department by the residential status. Citizenship, irrelevant. I don't care where you are a citizen of. I don't care whether you're a citizen of India, US, or Australia, or whichever country in the world. I am relevant. I am bothered about where are you residing? Where are you staying for a long period of time in a particular financial year? Wherever you will be staying in a particular financial year for a longer period of time, there I will say that you have your residency or you have your residential status. So residential status is directly linked to your staying in a particular country. So period of stay is the relevant criteria of determining what is the residential status of a particular person. So residential status is all about period of stay of a particular person, like an individual in a particular country. So for an individual, the period of stay matters a lot. Yes, 2 base rules. Base rule number 1, more than 182 days, you become a resident of India. Less than 182 days, you have to see base rule number 2. You have to go to second rule. Second rule says if less than 182 days, but more than 60 days in the previous year and 365 days in the last 4 years, then you become a resident of India. If you are not fulfilling either of the 2 conditions, that is, either you are not staying in India in that particular year for more than 60 days, or you are not in India for 365 days or more in the last 4 previous years, if either of the conditions are not satisfied, then you become a non-resident from an Indian context. Now, there are certain exceptions to base rule 2. Base rule 2 is a stringent base rule. There are certain exceptions to this stringent base rule. The exceptions are that if you are going outside India for employment purposes, if you are joining job outside India, then base rule 2 is not applicable to you. The stringent definition of 60 days and 365 days for past 4 years is not applicable to you. In that case, only base rule 1 is relevant. Base rule 2 is not relevant. And Jyotish is asking, sir, date of departure also we need to count? Yes, guys. Date of departure and date of arrival is to be counted by you while calculating the residential status. Date of arrival, the day when you arrive into India, that is also counted as your stay in India, and date of departure is also accounted for when you calculate your residential status. So that clarifies Jyotish's point. Hello, good morning. Sunny Kaushik is here. Good morning, Sunny Kaushik. So yes, CMA final students have also joined in. And yes, this is a message to all the CMA final students. Please join this session because this session is relevant for CMA final also. Absolutely, guys. All right. So yes, individual is divided into resident and non-resident based upon the criteria which we have just discussed. Now the question is, if you become an ordinary resident, if you become a resident of a particular because of the particular rule of India, then how would you classify yourself as a not ordinary resident or an ordinary resident? How would you classify? So guys, twin conditions if satisfied together. Twin conditions if satisfied together. Condition number 1, out of the last 10 years, you have to be an Indian resident of at least 9 years. Out of the last 10 years, you have to be an Indian resident of at least 9 years. Or you are in India for 729 days in the last 7 years. If either of the two conditions are satisfied, then you become a ordinary resident. Otherwise, you become a not ordinary resident. So ordinary resident and non-ordinary resident, that is the criteria of determining ordinary resident and not ordinary resident. Period of stay is very, very important. Let me get on to the slide also. And yes, section 6.6, we are referring to section 6.6. So you're a resident in 2 out of last 10 previous year. It is at least 2, guys, at least 2. You are a resident in at least 2 out of last previous 10 years if you are a resident, and you are staying in India for more than 729 days, then you become a ordinary resident. But if you are a non-resident in 9 out of 10 previous years, if you are a non-resident in 9 out of 10 previous years, or you are staying in India for less than 729 days, then you become a not ordinary resident. That is the criteria of determining ordinary and non-ordinary residency. Then guys, we also discussed about section 6.1a. What is section 6.1a? 6.1a says that if you're not becoming a resident of any country of the world, if you're not becoming a resident of any country of the world, but you are a citizen of India, then guys, you will become a resident of India, but an ordinary, not an ordinary resident, but a not ordinary resident. If you're not a resident of any country of the world, but you are a citizen of India and you are also earning 15 lakh rupees worth of income from Indian sources, then you become a resident, not ordinary resident of India. That is by virtue of your citizenship. That is by virtue of your citizenship of India. That is the condition. Section 6.1a is the relevant section. Okay. Then guys, in the last class, we had discussed the 3 exceptions to the residential status rule. 3 exceptions are: Indian citizen who leaves India for employment outside India is not required to see section 6.1c. Then Indian citizen who leaves India as a crew member of an Indian C, Indian citizen who becomes a crew member of the Indian C, then guys, that particular person is not required to see section 6.1c. That particular person is required to see only section 6.1a, which is 182 days or more. Third exception is Indian citizen or PIO, person of Indian origin, who stays in India for who doesn't stay in India, but he visits India in the previous year. Then guys, if his income is less than 15 lakh rupees, he becomes the additional condition is not applicable. 6.1c is not applicable on that particular person. But if he has an income of 15 lakh rupees or more, then guys, section 6.1c will be applicable, but liberal or modified version of section 6.1c will be applicable, which is instead of 60 days, we'll take 120 days as the determining criteria. And 365 days or more is to be stayed in India in last 4 previous years. So this is section 6.1c, modified version of section 6.1c. Both the conditions are satisfied, he becomes a not ordinary resident. So just a quick revision, guys, of the last class, whatever we did. Quick revision we are doing before we start our today's lecture. Then we discussed about the residency of HUF, Hindu Undivided Family. When would a HUF be called as a resident? When would a HUF be called as a non-resident? That is what we are going to determine in this particular section. So residential status of HUF In case of HUF, guys, the determining criteria is control and management. Control and management of an HUF should reside within India. If it is residing within India, if even one quota off or even a single decision is being taken in India, if a small decision also is being taken in India, if even minute control and management is in India, then we will say that that particular HUF is a resident of India. So control and management wholly or partly, which means even if for a part of or fraction of control management is in India, then guys, we will definitely call this HUF as a resident of India. So yes, Tanupriya is here as usual. Tanupriya is late, guys, but yes, she's late only by 19 minutes. That's okay. So good morning, Tanupriya. Tanupriya is there now. Okay, Sadanand Patil is there. Hi, Sadanand. CMA Final Group. Okay, CMA Final. That's great. Achal Singh says, Achal Singh Rajput, good morning. Shaina Sahiba, good morning. Perfect, perfect. Great. All right. So control management is the first criteria of determining whether HUF is a resident or not. And naturally, guys, HUF cannot have booked a flight ticket and go to USA to stay over there. So period of stay is not relevant in case of residential status of HUF. But yes, guys, whenever we decide whether the HUF is an ordinary resident or a not ordinary resident, then period of stay is relevant, not of HUF, but of Karta of HUF. If Karta of HUF for past 10 years is a non-resident in 9 out of 10 previous years, or he doesn't stay in India for more than 729 days in last 7 years, then the HUF becomes a not ordinary resident. And if the Karta is resident in 2 out of 10 previous years and the Karta remains for more than 729 days in India in the last 7 previous years, then guys, HUF becomes an ordinary resident. So depending upon the Karta's residential status, depending upon the Karta's period of stay, not in the current year, but in the previous years, you determine the residency of HUF. So HUF residency is divided into two parts: ordinary residency, not ordinary residency. This is how HUF residency is determined based on Karta's residency. Naturally, guys, HUF doesn't have legs. It cannot move from one place to another place, right? It cannot board a flight and go outside India. That is not possible in case of HUF. So Karta's residential status is important while calculating the residency of HUF. All right. So this was the section which we did in our last class, guys. So let's now start today's class, today's session. Last session was pretty much heavy, a little bit heavy. This session will be a little light because now we are only left with the residential status of, in case of a foreign company, AOP, BOI, and other kind of persons. So how will residential status be determined for a foreign company, AOP, BOI, and any other kind of person? Sir, why only foreign companies residential status is given over here? Why not an Indian company? How will we determine the residential status of an Indian company? Why is that not there in this chart? Why are we directly discussing a foreign company? What about an Indian company? How will Indian company become a resident or a non-resident? How will we determine that? Guys, Indian company is always a resident. Indian company is always a resident, irrespective of control and management. If your company is registered with the Indian Companies Act 1956 or 2013, then guys, the company becomes an Indian company, and Indian company is always a resident of India. So we will not discuss the residency of Indian company because Indian company is always a resident. But yes, we'll discuss the residency of a foreign company, AOP, BOI, and others. So guys, in the last session, some of the students were asking me, sir, what is poem? What is poem? Today we are going to discuss what is poem. Guys, poem means place of effective management. Now, the word which is to be emphasized over here, the word which is to be noted over here is poem has got a word which is effective, place of effective management. The word which is emphasized is effective. Effective means the main core decision should be taken at a particular place. Wherever the main or core decisions are taken, that is known as place of effective management. Effective management, place of effective management. So wherever the core decisions of an organization are taken, wherever the main decisions are taken, and where the decisions are taken effectively. Over there, we say that it is place of effective management. Now, I'll give you a simple example of how in earlier days, the companies used to evade taxes and evade being a resident of India by manipulating their management tasks. Okay, I'll tell you an example. Okay, so guys, suppose there's a foreign company and it worked in India on some project. Okay, now obviously all the decisions are being taken for India and they are also taken in India. But the board of directors, which are sitting outside India, they used to visit India very often, very regularly, and they used to work in India. They used to take decisions in India. But they knew that if management of control management of the company, of the foreign company, is situated in India, then the residency of that company becomes India, right? They were aware about this fact. So what they used to do is they used to stay in India, do the work whichever was required in India. It was a foreign company registered in US, Australia, or any other foreign law. But while they were having board meetings, they used to fly off to Singapore. They used to fly off to, say, Thailand. They used to fly off to neighboring countries of India, and they used to take the board meetings, or they used to take the board decisions over there. It was a deliberate attempt to avoid residency in India. It was a deliberate attempt to avoid residency in India. So assume a situation where all the decisions are taken in India, all the execution is being done in India, everything is being done in India, but just for carrying on that board meeting, just for carrying on the paper formalities of making those decisions, they used to fly off to Singapore, they used to fly off to other countries so that the management of a particular company, foreign company, doesn't fall in India. How grossly unfair. How unfair was this? Yes, it was absolutely unfair. Therefore, the words were changed. The words were changed from control and management to effective management. Effective management means doesn't matter where you are taking the decisions, doesn't matter if your board meeting is happening outside, but if the outcome of that board meeting, the execution of that board meeting is happening in India, we will say that your control and management is in India. So the rigors of management, decision making powers, all these were expanded. They were they were stringently made by the government of India in case of foreign companies. So government of India made it very, very strict, made it very, very stringent that yes, you need to demonstrate that your effective management is outside India. Only then we will spare you of the residency in India. That is the case which happened in case of foreign companies. So control and management, wholly or partly situated in India. So control management is relevant to AOP, BOI, and other kind of persons. But for a company, a foreign company, POEM is the relevant deciding criteria of becoming a resident or a non-resident. And guys, in case of all these kind of persons, foreign company, AOP, BOI, others, there is no concept of ordinary resident and not ordinary resident. Either you are a resident or you are a non-resident. There is no concept of ordinary resident and not ordinary resident. Ordinary resident and not ordinary resident concept is there only in case of individuals and HUF. That's it. That's it. In case of all other kind of persons, there are only two kind of residencies: resident or a non-resident. That's it. Okay, sir. So, what is POEM? POEM is place where key management and commercial decisions are taken. Key management and commercial decisions are taken. That is the place POEM. Okay. Again, POEM or control management wholly situated outside India. If your management is wholly situated outside India, if even part of the control management is situated in India, then you become a resident of India. If the entire control management is situated outside India, then you become a non-resident. So the decision is very clear. The criteria is very clear. If your control management is in India, wholly or partly, then you become a resident of India. If your POEM is in India, wholly or partly, then you become a resident of India. But if your POEM is wholly outside India, only then we will say that this particular foreign company is a resident of, not a resident of India. That is the determining criteria. Okay, sir, got it. So this was simple, guys. There are no calculations which you need to do in this particular concept, and there are no computations like number of days, how many days has he stayed in India, or in the past 10 years, for how many years he was a resident, non-resident. All these things are not required to be discussed in company, in case of a foreign company, AOP, BOI, another kind of person. So it is pretty simple. Okay, the complications arise only in case of individual or HUF. And let me tell you, in examination, the important point is the residential status of individual and HUF only. It is a rare chance, it is a rare opportunity that, a question from company or AOP BOI can come in your examination. So it's rare. Okay, sir, got it. All right, so the next topic which you are going to discuss is scope of income. What is the scope of income? How do you determine income? Now, guys, why are we discussing this topic? First, let me tell you this, okay? Now, I had told you earlier, guys. What had I told you? There are three kinds of residency: ordinary resident, not ordinary resident, and non-resident. There are three kinds of residency which I told you: ordinary resident, not ordinary resident, and non-resident. There are three kinds of residency, right? Now, ordinary residents are required to pay taxes on their entire income, all income, whether it is received in India or outside India, entire income. Then they are required to pay taxes. In case of ordinary resident, entire income is taxable. NOR, they are required to pay taxes on some income, and some income are exempt, right? And in case of non-resident, most of their incomes are exempt. On most of their incomes, they are not required to pay taxes. Now, to understand which income is taxable in which one's hands, guys, we need to know what is the scope of income, what is the definition of income. Only then we will be able to marry. Yes, today's marriage of whom? Residential status with income. All of you are invited in this marriage. Yes, today's marriage of whom? Marriage of residential status and the income, the type of income. So first we'll be discussing types of income. We have already discussed type of residency. Now we'll be discussing types of income. Then we will marry both of them. Marry means what kind of income is taxable in which person's hand. That is what we need to decide now, because tomorrow if some non-resident comes to you and tells you that, okay, I have these 5 kinds of income, please tell me on which income should I pay taxes in India. You should be able to know that. You should be able to answer that. So now we are going to answer what kind of income is taxable in whose hand. That is the question under consideration, which we'll be discussing in a short while. But first we need to know, what do you mean by income? What is income? That is what we need to know now. Scope of income. What do you mean by income? That is the point of discussion. All right. First, received in India. Any amount which is received in India is the first category of income. Any amount which is received in India is the first category of income. And naturally, guys, the receipt should not be capital receipt. It should be revenue receipt. The receipt should be in the nature of income. It should not be capital receipt. So Ravi Gupta has also joined. Good morning, Ravi. So the receipt should be in the nature of revenue receipt and not capital receipt. So any kind of receipt which is received during the year, that is per se taxable in India. So received in India is the first category which is there. Now, guys, we need to understand a very important concept over here: the difference between received and remitted. The difference between received and remitted. There's a difference between these two words, because remittance is not taxable in India. However, receipt is taxable in India. Remittance is not taxable in India. Receipt is taxable in India. Therefore, we need to understand the difference between receipt and remittance. So, guys, please have your hands on the chat box, on your keyboards. I will ask you certain questions. Please answer those questions for me. Please have your hands on the keyboards. My question to you is, Mr. Ram is employed in India with Wipro Technologies. Wipro is giving salary to Mr. Ram in his bank account. Bank account is also opened in India. Do you think that this income is received in India? Yes or no? I want the answer in the chat box. The transaction is very simple. Mr. Ram, employed with Wipro. Wipro is depositing the salary of Mr. Ram in the bank account which is maintained by Mr. Ram in India. And that particular income is received by Mr. Ram in its bank account. The question is whether the income is received in India. Yes or no? Manav, Khera, Jyotish, Kartike, Deeptesh, Nidhi, Kirti, Muthu, Sadanand, Manav, Rohit, Rani, Shaina, Saksham, Kartike, Ujjwal, Disha, Khushi, Anushka, Poonam, Om, Shilpi, Chirag Khemani, Dhruv Jain, Yashika. Brilliant. All of you are correct. Now my example number 2. Please listen to it carefully. Now the facts will change. Minute facts will change. So please listen to me carefully. Please increase the volume of your laptop. Please increase the volume of your headphones or earphones which you have put. Please increase the volume and please listen to me carefully. Mr. Ram leaves job in Wipro because he got selected in Oracle Systems Corporation, which is located in United States of America. He flies down to United States of America, and in United States of America, the employer Oracle India Private Limited, Oracle Systems Corporation, Oracle US Inc., they open a bank account for Mr. Ram in US, right? And they give salary of Mr. Ram in the US bank account. Mr. Ram flies back to US, and the company, the Oracle Systems Corporation, they give salary to Mr. Ram in the bank account of Mr. Ram. Bank account is opened in United States of America. New bank account is opened. Now please tell me whether salary is received in India or not. Yes or no? Received in India or not? Yes or no? This time whether your answer is yes or no. The salary is received in the bank account of United States of America. Salary is received in the bank account of United States of America, not in India. Whether the salary is received in India or not. Everyone is saying not received, not received, not received, not. Perfect. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. It is not. No, I'm not going to deem to receive in India as of now. Please don't jump the topics. I will come on the topics gradually, one by one. If you jump, you are bound to miss on the point. Okay? Please don't jump. No, everyone is saying no. Perfect. Perfect answer. Very good. Brilliant. Received in US. Yes, Vivek Sharma is right. It is received in US. Farhan Alam says no. Itna sara no. Kamal ho gaya. Okay. Next question. Please listen to the next question very, very carefully. Now, Mr. Ram flies to United States of America, gets job over there in Oracle Systems Corporation. Oracle Systems Corporation tells Mr. Ram, we have not got your bank account opened as of now. So we can, for now, as of now, deposit your salary in your Indian bank account. Please give us details of your Indian bank account. We will deposit your salary in your Indian bank account rather than US bank account. We have not opened your bank account as of now. We will deposit your salary in your Indian bank account. Directly, we will transfer it to your Indian bank account. There is no US bank account. In that case, whether the income is received in India or not. Yes or no? Yes or no? US bank account is not there, and Oracle Systems Corporation have agreed to deposit the amount in the Indian bank account. Is the income received in India? Yes, received for the first time in India. Entertainment show is saying. Very good entertainment show. Pankaj says yes. Megha says yes. Yashika says yes. Vanshi says no. Yes, received in India. Yes, received in India. Deepika Raj Purohit says yes. Dhruv Jain says no. Vidhi says yes. Vilas says yes. Ravi Gupta says yes. Chirag Khemani yes. Devashish yes. Perfect answer, guys. Perfect answer. Answer is definitely a yes. The income is received in India from a foreign source, from a foreign country. The income is received in India. Perfect answer. Now listen to my next question very, very carefully. Next question is, Mr. Ram went to US, worked with Oracle Systems Corporation in the United States of America. He opened his bank account in the United States of America. Oracle Systems Corporation transferred his salary to his bank account in United States of America. His salary was, suppose, 10,000 US dollars. 10,000 US dollars was the salary of Mr. Ram. Out of 10,000 US dollars, Mr. Ram transferred 2,000 US dollars to his Indian bank account so that his family in India can sustain. Out of 10,000 US dollars, he transferred 2,000 US dollars to his Indian bank account. Now, please tell me whether the income was received in India or whether the income was received in USA, or whether it was partly received in India or partly received in USA. So you have three options. Number one, partly received in India or USA. Number two, entirely received in USA. Number three, entirely received in India. 10,000 US dollars 10,000 US dollars are there in India, in US bank account. Out of the 10,000 US dollars, 2,000 US dollars has been transferred to Indian bank account for his family to sustain. Where is this income received? India, US, or partly in India, partly in US? There are three options: India, US, partly in India, partly in US. It is remitted in India. Perfect. Who has given this answer? This answer has been given by Farhan Alam. Farhan Alam, very good answer. Farhan Alam. Renu Kumari, Jatin Ghugdyal, Sarnek Shah, Rohit Sharma, AKCR7, Tanupriya, perfect. Deepika, Jyotish, Yashika, Manav, Chirag, entirely US, perfect. Fully received outside India. Sadanand Patil, very good answer. Very good, very good. All the answers are absolutely right, guys. All the answers are absolutely right. It is entirely received in United States of America. Subsequently to India. So, guys, please understand what is received. Received means where the income was first received, not subsequent receipt. Subsequent receipt is not receipt, where it was first receipt. And in this particular case, it was first receipt in the United States of America. So it will be called as the income which is received in United States of America and not in India. Subsequent remittance to any part of the world is not counted as a receipt. This is not receipt. It has not been received in India. Received means when it was first time received. If it is second time received, then it is not received. We have not received in any income. It was just remitted. It was just transferred from one place to another place, and it is not taxable in India. Remittance is not taxable in India. Remittance means subsequent transfer to India. Whenever subsequently the income is transferred to India, that is known as remittance, and remittance is not taxable in India. Simple as that. So the difference between receipt and remittance should be very, very clear, because remittance is not taxable. Receipt is very much taxable in India. That is the difference between these two words, which you need to understand. Okay, sir, got it? Now, before coming on to deem to receive in India, I would like to discuss accrue or arise in India. Okay, accrue or arise in India. What do you mean by accrue or arise in India? Accrue or arise in India means the right to receive that particular income arises in India. Okay, now let us take one example. Okay, so I am a teacher of direct taxation. I teach CMA students direct taxation in intermediate, audit in intermediate. In final, I teach direct taxation. In final, I teach cost audit, and I take BVM SPM in final. That is my portfolio. Now you come to me. I stay in Delhi. You come to me in Delhi, and you come to visit my Bright Vision Academy, my campus, which is there in Lakshmi Nagar. And you tell me, sir, I want to buy your lectures. I tell you the price, and there's an agreement or contract between both of us that yes, I will supply the lectures to you. Please pay the required money to me. That is a contract. So you have received the right to receive the lectures, and pursuant to the contract, I have received the right to take money from you, earn income from you. And guys, this right has been received by me. I am the income earner. This right has been received by me in India, and hence this income is accruing or arising in India. Suppose I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll give a different example. I went to vacation, okay, and I am suppose in Thailand, okay. I am having vacation in Thailand. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm very, very happy. I'm there with my friends, and I'm enjoying the scenic beauty of Thailand. And suddenly you see me and say, "Oh, sir, you are in Thailand. Even I am in Thailand." I said, "Okay, very good. Where are you? Staying and all. What level of CMA are you?" We were just introducing each other, and he told me, "Sir, I want to buy your lectures." I said, "Okay, let's talk about it in India when we go back." He says, No, sir. In India, you will not be traceable. I will not be able to contact you. So let's do a deal over here in Singapore. Let's do a deal." And I explained to you that these are my lectures, these are the fees, that this so and so, these are the terms and conditions, and you agree to pay me the price. And there and then you paid me the price of the lectures, and I give you right to receive the lectures. You give me the right to receive my income. Now, please tell me, is the income accruing or arising in India or not? In the chat box, please tell me, is the income in second case when you and me meet in Thailand, is the income accruing or arising in India or not? Please give me answer in the comment box. Is the income accruing or arising in India or not? Yes, answer is no. Perfect answer is no. रानी सिंह, yes कैसे हो गया? No answer है. Answer is no, because right to receive is received in Singapore. So it is accruing and arising in Thailand. The income is accruing and arising in Thailand because the agreement happened in Thailand. The right to receive that income is transferred in Thailand. Therefore, that income accrues or arises in Thailand and not in India. That is the benchmark. That is the bottom line. So accrues and arises means whatever income, even if it is not received as of now, but the right to receive is generated. The agreement between two parties happened in India. Whenever right to receive it is generated, or whenever the 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 right to receive income is obtained outside India. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. The contract is made in Singapore. So no, absolutely, Debashish, very good answer. So simple as that, guys. Simple as that. Accrue and arise means the right to receive is due, is it becomes payable or receivable outside India, then it is known as accruing and arising outside India. If it is in India, then it is in India. It doesn't matter where the income is received. Okay, if subsequently, if the income accrues and arises in India, but subsequently the income was received in Singapore, okay, so you make an agreement with me in Delhi that yes sir, I want to purchase your lecture, I deliver the lectures to you. You pay me part money, and you says part money I will pay you later on. I also forgot to take you part money when we met in Singapore. Then then you got reminded of my part payment. You handed over the payment to me in Singapore. Okay, so this income accrues and rises in India, but it was received in Singapore. But guys, at the first place, it accrued and rised in India. Therefore, it will be taxable in India. If it is received in India, even if it accrues and rises outside India, doesn't matter. So either the income has to be received in India, or the income has to accrue and arise in India. In either of the two cases, the income will be taxable in India. Either the income should be received in India, or the income should be accrued or arise in India, then it is taxable in India. That is how taxability of income is determined. That is how income taxability is ascertained. Now comes a very critical point. Critical point is deemed to receive in India. Deemed to receive in India. Guys, the word deem is a very important word in an Indian, in the context of Income Tax Act. The word deemed means assume. The word deemed means assume. When we assume something, it is known as deem. When we assume something. So, sir, what do we want to assume now? Guys, we want to assume that certain income is received in India. Even when the income is not received in India, we will assume that that particular income is received in India, just to have taxability. Okay, deemed to receive in India, which means the income has actually not been received in India, but we will assume that it has been received in India. It's an assumption that it has been received in India. That is known as deemed to receive in India. Now that is also taxable in India. Sir, we'll assume that it is taxable in India. Yes, we will assume that it is received in India. That is known as deemed to receive in India. Even when it is not received, we will say that it is received. Income Tax Act will say that it is assumed that it is received, even when it is not received. So deemed to receive in India, we have certain elements of it. Number one, employer's contribution to provident fund in excess of 12% of salary. So guys, if the employers are depositing some amount on behalf of the employee to a provident fund, then guys, the employee doesn't receive this income in the current year. Yes, the income is belonging to the assessee, belonging to the employee, but he has not received it. But still, we will assume that it is received by the assessee in the current year. So guys, up till 12%, the income is exempt, but beyond 12%, above 12%, this income is taxable. Therefore, the amount which is contributed to employees' contribution to such provident fund will be taxable as received in India, deemed to receive in India. Okay, there's some question. Yes, income tax का धमकाने वाला word deemed. Perfect. Ravi Gupta, no such restriction on tenure, not repatriatable except for current income and remittance by NRIs up to USD 1 million per annum. भैया क्या हो गया रवि गुप्ता, तुमको, तुम ठीक तो हो? अच्छा, रेमिटेंस की लिमिट फेमा एक्ट से रवि गुप्ता निकाल के लाया है. रवि, जो फेमा है ना, वो आपके फाइनल में, सीएमए फाइनल में, ठीक है. इंटर में फेमा की जरूरत नहीं है पढ़ने की, इतना इतना इन डेप्थ जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. बेसिक सेक्शंस कर लें हम, वही बहुत बड़ी बात है. ठीक है रवि, Acha, Ravi ka exam is also in December. So he's, overexcited to research a lot. Very good, Ravi. Superb. So employer's contribution to provident fund in excess of 12% is deemed to receive in India. We will assume that it is received in India and it is taxable in India. Second is the employer's contribution to pension scheme. If the employer contributes anything to the pension scheme, then we will assume that that particular income is received in India, deemed to receive in India, even when the employee doesn't receive it in the current year. Then TDS, tax deducted at source. Guys, we'll be doing a particular chapter about this, a particular section, tax deducted at source, in detail in our syllabus. But in brief, I'll be able to tell you, guys, TDS is tax deducted at source. Whenever salary income is received, then the employer has the responsibility to deduct taxes and pay to government of India. Okay. So if your income is say 10 lakh rupees, then you will not get 10 lakh rupees in your hands. You will only get say 8 lakh rupees. So what happened to 2 lakh rupees? Guys, 2 lakh rupees was deposited to government of India as TDS. That is your tax, which is, in advance you are paying your tax through your employer. That is known as TDS. So 2 lakh rupees is TDS, which is paid by you through your employer to government of India, right? So you got in your bank, what you got in your bank, you got only 8 lakh rupees, but your entire package was 10 lakh rupees. Now the question is, what is your taxable salary? Is it the amount which is your original package, or is it the amount which you have received? What is your taxable salary? The answer is your taxable salary is 10 lakh rupees, because the 2 lakh which has been deposited to government is actually deposited on your behalf only. It is not someone else's money. It is not spent to benefit someone else. It is your money which has been deposited on your behalf to government of India. Therefore, this 2 lakh rupees is also taxable in your hands. The taxable salary is 10 lakh rupees. So even when you have not received this 2 lakh rupees, it will be deemed to receive in India, right? It will be deemed to receive in India, that yes, you have received this money. We will assume this particular fact, and we will say that you have to pay taxes on this particular income. It is not that you have to pay taxes only on 8 lakh rupees. You have to pay taxes on entire 10 lakh rupees, even when TDS deducted is 2 lakh rupees, which is deducted from your salary, paid to government of India on your behalf. It was on your behalf that this TDS has been paid. If this TDS would not have been paid, then you yourself, employee, should have deducted this TDS to government of India, right? One and the same thing. Either the employee deposits it to government of India, or the employer deducts it from the salary and deposits it to government of India. One and the same thing. What is the difference? There's no difference. Yes, sir. So TDS is deemed to accrue, deemed to receive in India. Therefore TDS is taxation. नहीं, डबल टैक्सेशन नहीं होगा. श्रद्धा पुदार के लिए डबल टैक्सेशन हो जाएगा. बिल्कुल भी डबल टैक्सेशन नहीं होगा. क्यों डबल टैक्सेशन नहीं होगा? देखो मैं तुम्हें बताता हूं डबल टैक्सेशन क्यों नहीं होगा. डबल टैक्सेशन क्यों नहीं होगा. So your income is 10 lakh rupees. At the end of the year, you will be taxable. You means employee will be taxable at 10 lakh rupees. You compute your tax as 2 lakh rupees, right? But you are not going to pay this tax to government of India. You will tell government of India, look, government of India, 2 lakh rupees has already been paid on my behalf by my employer. Therefore, I'm taking a credit of this 2 lakh rupees. So the tax which is payable by me is nil. There is no double taxation. There is no double taxation. So Shraddha Pudar had asked this question. Shraddha Pudar, there is no double taxation. कोई डबल टैक्सेशन नहीं होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि आपको दोबारा थोड़ी पे करना है ये 2 लाख रुपए. 2 लाख रुपए आपके एम्प्लॉयर ने आपके बिहाफ पे ऑलरेडी पे कर दिए. When 2 lakh rupees has already been paid by your employer on your behalf to government of India, why would you have to pay any taxes? You don't have to pay any taxes. You will just tell in your return of income, you will just tell government of India, look, government of India, my employer has already paid 2 lakh rupees on my behalf, which is my tax liability. You don't ask money from me now. I am not going to pay any money. That is how double taxation will not happen. So there's no taxation can happen. But yes, this income will be taxable as TDS. TDS is deemed to accrue or rise in India. Next is deemed profits. So certain profits are deemed profits. So, certain liabilities. So suppose you have to pay some amount to some person. You have to pay 2 lakh rupees to a bank. And that bank tells you that, okay, I'm waiving off your loan because of your poor condition. I'm waiving off your loan. Then guys, that waiver is treated as income. That waiver is treated as income. That is deemed profit. So we'll assume that this is your profit, because waiving off of liability is also your profit. So this is deemed to receive in India. Income from undisclosed sources. So if certain incomes are received by you and you are not able to tell from where is this income received. So there are certain undisclosed sources from where the income is received and you are not able to tell what is the source of that particular income. Then guys, that undisclosed income is again deemed to be received in India. So what happens is that tax officer asks you, where did you get this income from? And you are saying, I cannot tell you the source, but I can tell you that it is received from US. Okay, it is received in US. It is not received in India. So income tax officer is asking you, where did you get this 10 lakh rupees from? Please tell me. Where did you get this 10 lakh rupees from? Please tell me. Income tax act is asking you. And you are saying, I don't know where they came from. I don't know the source. But yes, they came from United States of America. They are not received in India. No, guys. Any income from undisclosed sources will be deemed to be received in India and it will be taxable in India. When you know that has been received in USA, then you should also know who has given it to you, right? Logical? Makes sense? But if you defeat sense, then we will say that income from undisclosed sources is deemed to receive in India. Then next is deemed to accrue or arise in India. Guys, accrue or arise we have already discussed. Wherever the agreement has taken place, wherever the contract has been signed, where the terms and conditions are finalized, wherever the dealing has happened between two parties, that is the a place where accrue and arise arises. There are certain cases where even when the agreement didn't take place at a particular place, even when the contract was not negotiated at a particular place in India, then also we will assume that it was done in India in certain cases, right? सर ये तो जबरदस्ती की बात है. हाँ भाई हाँ, जबरदस्ती की बात है, लेकिन असेसी भी तो बहुत शाणे होते हैं ना, बहुत स्मार्ट होते हैं, तो हमें भी थोड़ा जबरदस्ती करनी पड़ती है. So now these are the cases where income will be deemed to accrue or arise in India. Income is not actually accruing in India. The right to receive is not being received in India, but still we are saying that income is accrued or arise in India. So Bhupen Sharma says the list you have mentioned in deemed to receive in India is a complete list, or there can be other items too. Bhupen, this is the complete list. This is the exhaustive list. This has been given in the section, so it is complete list. ध्रुव जैन कह रहे हैं 15G 15H से काम हो जाता है. फिर नालायक ध्रुव जैन, 15G 15H तो तब होगा ना जब इनकम टैक्सेबल लिमिट से कम है. अगर इनकम टैक्सेबल लिमिट से ज्यादा है तो 15G 15H से कैसे काम होगा? Sir, what is difference between POEM in case of company and control management in case of HUF? ज्योतिष, very good question. POEM और ये control management में क्या फर्क होता है? भाई POEM होता है, पोएम और ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट कंट्रोल मैनेजमेंट का नॉर्म है, और ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट, और ज्यादा चीज को बहुत ज्यादा गहरे रूप में देखता है. पोएम मींस प्लेस ऑफ इफेक्टिव मैनेजमेंट. इफेक्टिव मैनेजमेंट मींस जहां पर एक्चुअली में मैनेजमेंट हो रहा है. सिर्फ अगर आप ऊपर ऊपर से ऑन पेपर्स दिखाओगे कि हाँ देखो बोर्ड मीटिंग यहां हो गई, तो बोर्ड मीटिंग यहां हो रही है, तो फिर मैनेजमेंट भी यहां हो रहा है, उससे काम नहीं चलेगा. आपको रियल सेंस में ना डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करना पड़ेगा कि हाँ वास्तव में जहां बोर्ड मीटिंग हो रही है, ऑन ग्राउंड डिसीजन भी वहीं लिया जा रहा है. यह पोएम. सो पोएम इज मच मोर इन डेप्थ. और कंट्रोल मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट दैट इन डेप्थ. टीडीएस वापस मिल जाता है हमारे अकाउंट में. हाँ ध्रुव, बिल्कुल टीडीएस वापस मिल जाता है हमारे अकाउंट में. ये ध्रुव ना बहुत बहुत होशियार हो रहा है, बहुत होशियार हो रहे हो. कहीं ध्रुव जरूर कहीं प्रैक्टिकल जॉब कर रहा है, तभी उसे ये सारी चीजें 15G 15H की नॉलेज है. वेरी गुड Bhupen Sharma, yes, they will be uploaded on YouTube. All right. Deemed to accrue or arise in India, there are certain cases where agreement has not happened in India. The contract has not been entered into in India. Terms and contracts had not been finalized in India. There are many cases, but still we will say that income has accrued or arise in India. There are certain cases like that which we are going to discuss now. Let's see what are those cases. Okay, sir. So guys, just let me change my battery. Just give me 2 minutes. All right. Yes. So, income deemed to accrue or arise in India. What is income deemed to accrue or arise in India? Cases where the contract has not entered into in India. The cases where the agreement has not happened in India. Terms and conditions have not been decided in India. The income right to receive has not been received in India. But still we will assume that. The income has accrued or arise in India. We will assume that. Okay. There are certain cases like that. So case number 1, income earned through a business connection in India, or a source of income in India, or a proper property or asset or any kind of asset in India. Now, please understand this first point very, very well, and I'll be taking you through this point in brief. Okay. Now, suppose there is a non-resident called Joseph. Joseph stays in United States of America. Joseph has a big property in Jaipur. He owns a very beautiful house in Jaipur, very big house in Jaipur, and Joseph is owner of that house. Joseph wants to sell off that house in India. He has a neighbor. Name of a neighbor is Margaret. Joseph wants to sell his Jaipur house to Margaret. Joseph goes to my house and Joseph tells Margaret, Margaret, I have a property in India, Jaipur. Beautiful property. 300 acres, big property. It's located at the prime location. Would you like to purchase it? Margaret says, oh yes, I was looking for opportunity to invest in India because I keep visiting in India. So, I want some property over there. So yes, you can sell your property to me. So guys, the terms and conditions were decided in US. The contract was entered in US. The agreement was entered in US. The negotiations happened in US. The payment was transferred in US. Everything happened in US. So the income typically accrues and arises in US. The agreement was signed in US. The terms and conditions were determined in US. Everything happened in US. Both the parties to the agreements are also US nationals. So typically the income accrues and arises in US. But the moot point of consideration is the property is situated in India. Similarly, if there's any business connection in India, or if the source of income is in India, then irrespective of the fact that the agreement has been entered into in US, the contract has been entered into in US, terms and conditions have happened in US, whatever has happened to US, I am not bothered about it. I will say that income deems to accrue or rise in India. I will assume that the income is accruing in India. This is an assumption which I will take. Despite of the fact that agreement has happened outside India, the contract has happened outside India, negotiations happened outside India, payment received outside India, everything happened outside India. Still, I will say that the income deems to accrue or arise in India. So this is the first case where any kind of business connection, if it is with India, then I will say that the income deems to accrue or rise in India. Now, business connection is also determined by real conclusion of contract, securing orders, delivery of goods in India. So I will just make this particular chart a little more visible to all of you. Okay, let me increase the line thickness a little bit. Yes. Now this chart will be a little more visible to you. Okay. All right. So I'm talking about the business connection, guys. Business connection. If there's any business connection in India, if there's any point of contact in India, there's any business connection in India, which means a real business connection that, conclusion of contract happens in India, or securing of orders happen in India, delivery of goods happen in India. So sometimes people are very smart, guys. People can actually enter into contract outside India, signing of contract outside India, but they can solicit customers from India. So they are inviting customers from India, but when agreement is being signed, that is being signed outside India. So I'll give you a practical example. Guys, whenever you download an app from online resource, any online database, okay? Whenever you download an app, so, suppose you're downloading a software from internet, okay, from any website, you get a terms and conditions page. You click on the terms and conditions page. Yes, I agree on those terms and conditions and submit. That is actually the agreement which you have entered into. And that agreement is stored or saved in a server which is located outside India. So typically, strictly speaking, you have entered into that contract outside India. But since you are in India, since the customer is in India, and conclusion of contract is happening in India, or securing of order is happening in India, the order is being secured or invited in India, or the delivery of goods is happening in India, then guys, we will assume that the income deems to accrue or rise in India, despite of the fact that agreement was signed outside India, terms and conditions were negotiated outside India. Despite of the fact, we will assume that the income has been accrued or arise in India. Next, salary earned for, yes, website linked in India. Debraj, very good answer. Properties in India. Debashish, very good answer. Bhupen Sharma, accrued or rise received in US, but deemed to accrue or rise as property situated in India. Perfect. Bhupen Sharma, beautiful answer. Linked with India. Chirag Khemani, amazing. Perfect, perfect. Next, salary earned for services rendered in India. So if any person comes to India and he's on payrolls of a foreign company, but he comes to India for a temporary time just to do some work, and then he goes back to United States of America, and the income is received in the United States of America. The contract of agreement, the contract of employment was also signed in the United States of America. Everything happened in the United States of America. Still, that person will be deemed to the income will be deemed to accrue or arise in India. The income will be deemed to accrue or arise in India, since during that tenure when his income was being due, he was rendering services in India, including any leaves. If he has taken any leaves during his stay in India, then that will also be included in India. तो सिंगापुर वाले में नो कैसे होगा? श्रद्धा पोदार, तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन नहीं समझ में आया. श्रद्धा पोदार, क्वेश्चन एक बार दोबारा रिपीट करो. ओके. Next, salary received for services rendered outside India, payable by Government of India. So sometimes what happens is in cases of embassies, right? In cases of embassies, the services are rendered outside India. They are not rendered in India, they're rendered outside India. In those cases, guys, the income is deemed to accrue or rise in India, despite of the fact that that particular person is outside India. The agreement might happen, the right to receive happens outside India because the income services are being rendered outside India. So in that case also, it is deemed that the income is accrued and rise in India. Dividend paid by Indian company outside India. So if any dividend is paid by an Indian company to any person of outside India, a foreigner has never come to India. He has purchased the shares in a outside stock exchange, and he's never negotiated into any terms in India. Then it is deemed to accrue rise in India. The dividend is deemed to accrue rise in India since it is paid by an Indian company. Then interest, royalty, FTS payable on borrowings or rights or services. Now these are three kinds of income, guys. Interest is paid on borrowings, so you can connect blue color. Royalty is paid on rights, and fee for technical services is paid on services. So blue color represents interest and borrowings, red color represents royalty and rights, and green color represents FTS and services. So if you have received interest, royalty, or FTS, which is payable on borrowings, rights, and services by Government of India, if Government of India is paying all these three things, resident or non-resident, for money borrowed or rights or services used for businesses in India. Now this is a very, very complicated clause, guys. It contains a lot of sub provisions which I have cumulatively given in this particular chart. Please listen, please watch this very, very carefully. Okay. Interest on borrowings, if it is payable by Government of India, if government is paying any interest on borrowings which it makes, we will assume that it has been deemed to accrue or rise in India, because Government of India will always work for India. It is always work for projects in India. So despite of the fact that Government of India is paying certain interest to outside people on borrowings, which is done outside India, even then maybe the terms and conditions have been decided outside India. Maybe the agreement has been signed outside India, but we'll assume that it has been deemed to accrue or rise in India if it is payable by Government of India. Any kind of income which is paid, royalty, FTS, or interest by Government of India will be deemed to accrue or rise in India. But when the income in the nature of interest, royalty, and FTS is payable by a resident or a non-resident, which is not a government person, then for the money borrowed, rights received, used for businesses in India, if the business is being business in which this borrowing is used, business in which these rights are used, and business in which these services are used is in India, then we will assume that all these things are in India. Sir, we are in an absolute confusion state. Please elaborate this point. Okay, let me give you an example. This is Oracle Systems Corporation. This is Oracle India Private Limited. These are two entities of Oracle. Oracle Systems Corporation, located in United States of America, and Oracle India Private Limited, located in India. These are two different entities. Okay. Now we have one more entity of Oracle, which is known as Oracle KPAC. This is Asia Pacific wing of Oracle, or Oracle Ireland for that matter. Okay. Now, guys, Oracle Ireland or OKPAC has got certain rights which are to be used in production of Oracle software. those rights are purchased by Oracle KPAC, by Oracle Systems Corporation, because Oracle Systems Corporation is the main entity which uses these rights. Now, Oracle Systems Corporation wants to use these rights in different parts of the world, including India. It is also using these rights for its Indian subsidiary, its Indian business. Also, it is using this right, which is right to the software in Oracle. Right now, please consider this fact: the right is being taken outside India. The payment is being made outside India between two non-residents. These are two non-residents. OSC is also non-resident. OCAPAC is also non-resident. But the utilization of this right by OSC is also done in India. Utilization of the right by OSC is also done in India. When the utilization of right is also done in India, then guys, we will say that this particular income which is received from OSC to OCAPAC, this income, royalty income which is received from OSC to OCAPAC, deemed to accrues and arises in India. If any royalty is being paid by a non-resident to a different non-resident, but the purpose of paying that royalty is an Indian business, then we will say that it deems to accrue or arise in India. Similarly, guys, any kind of loan, interest, FTS, which is taken by a foreign company, which is paid by a foreign company, is deemed to accrue or arise in India if we say that the business is conducted in India. It is paid for conducting business in India. So any kind of interest, royalty, FTS payable on borrowing rights and services by resident or non-resident for money borrowed, rights and services used for business in India. Please underline this word, very, very important word, used for business in India. If you use those rights, if you use those money, if you use those services for business of in India, then we will say that that income accrues or arises in India. If you use that income, if you use that borrowing, if you use that right, if you use that service in India, we will say that your income accrues and arises in India, despite of the fact that you are transferring the income outside India. Your rights have been received outside India. Your contract is being entered outside India. Despite of this fact, we will say that your income accrues or arises in India. Again, a concept very similar to concept of business connection. So if you have any connection in India regarding the income which you are paying outside India, then that will accrue or arise in India. Maybe the people who are involved in this transaction are non-residents. Maybe the agreement happens outside India. Maybe the terms and conditions happen outside India. Then also, guys, the income deems to accrue or arise in India. Okay, Shraddha Padar is saying, सर जब सिंगापुर में क्लास के लिए अग्रीमेंट हुआ था तो नॉट अक्रूड अज्यूम्ड किए थे ना? हाँ बिल्कुल, जब क्लास के लिए सिंगापुर में हुआ था तो हमने नॉट अज्यूम किया था कि वो अक्रू सिंगापुर में नहीं है. लेकिन जब ये बात पता लगी सब्सिक्वेंटली कि मेरा जो अकेडमी है वो इंडिया में है, ठीक है, मेरा जो बिजनेस है वो इंडिया में है, तो जो मैंने सिंगापुर में भी इनकम ली ना वो इंडियन बिजनेस के लिए ली, तो फिर मैं डीम टू अक्रू और राइज इन इंडिया की कैटेगरी में आ जाऊंगा. मैं अक्रू और राइज तो इंडिया में नहीं आऊंगा, अक्रू और राइज की कैटेगरी में तो नहीं आऊंगा, लेकिन डीम टू अक्रू और राइज की कैटेगरी में आ जाऊंगा. दैट इज द आंसर. ओके, यस, देवराज मोहपात्रा is absolutely right. Anything in connection with Indian, we will treat it as income deemed to accrue in India. किरण शिंदे, सर पर इंडिया के बाहर के इंडियन गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉइज की सैलरी टैक्स फ्री होती है ना? वो किरण वो अलग बात है, टैक्स फ्री होगी नहीं होगी, कितना पोर्शन टैक्स फ्री होता है, वो सारा पोर्शन टैक्स फ्री नहीं होता. कितना पोर्शन टैक्स फ्री होगा, कितना पोर्शन टैक्स फ्री नहीं होगा, वो बाद की बात, वो जब हम सैलरी चैप्टर पढ़ेंगे उसमें डिटरमाइन करेंगे. अभी तो हम ये डिटरमाइन कर रहे हैं इनकम क्या होती है, बस. अभी हम क्या डिटरमाइन कर रहे हैं, इनकम क्या होती है, व्हाट इज इनकम, दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डिटरमाइन एज ऑफ नाउ. ठीक है, वेदर इट विल बी टैक्सेबल और नॉट वो हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे सैलरी के चैप्टर में. पहले ये तो देख लो इनकम क्या है. अभी हम पढ़ रहे हैं डेफिनेशन ऑफ इनकम. इनकम क्या है, व्हाट इज इनकम, दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू सी नाउ इन द सब्सिक्वेंट चैप्टर्स. लाइक capital gain, like salary, we will discuss which one is taxable, which one is not. And last is gift received by non-resident outside India from a resident. Any kind of gift which is received by a non-resident outside India from a resident is again income deemed to accrue rise in India. तो अगर कोई गिफ्ट भी नॉन रेजिडेंट को मिलता है तो वो भाई हम लोग कहते हैं कि वो इनकम डीम टू accrue rise इंडिया में होगी. ऑल राइट, चलो आ जाओ भाई, बारात आ गई, शादी हो रही है, शादी, मैरिज का समय आ गया है, शादी हो रही है. शादी किसकी शादी हो रही है भाई? शादी हो रही है द टाइप्स ऑफ इनकम एंड टाइप्स ऑफ रेजिडेंसी. कौन सी इनकम किस रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस के आदमी के लिए टैक्सेबल होगी, दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डिटरमाइन. दिस इज द चार्ट विच इज मैरिज चार्ट. दिस इज द चार्ट विच इज शादी वाला चार्ट. तो शादी हो रही है, शहनाई बजने वाली है, दूल्हा ready hai, dulhan bhi ready hai, aao shaadi karate hain. Now we need to see which kind of income is taxable in which cases. Now I have two categories, guys: income received in India or income deemed to be received in India, income accrued in India or income deemed to be accrued in India. These are the two categories of income which I have. And I have three categories of residency: ordinary resident, not ordinary resident, and non-resident. Now I just need to see which kind of income is taxable under which residential status. That is what I'm going to see now. So guys, first of all, income received in India or income accrued or arise in India. Income received includes deemed to receive also. So now, case where income is received in India, whether it deems to accrue or arise in India, or it accrues or arise in India, whether it accrues or arise in India or not. So guys, whenever I say received in India, it will automatically include deemed to receive in India also. Okay. And whenever I say accrue in India, it will automatically include deemed to accrue in India also. So both of these things will be automatic. Okay. So now the income is received in India. The income is received in India. Just a second, guys. Just a moment. Okay, so sorry. So when the income is either received in India or accrues or arises in India, whether it is received in India or it accrues or arises in India, then it is taxable in hands of all the kinds of residency. If income is received in India or it is accrued or arise in India, it is taxable in all kinds of residencies. Whether you are a non-resident, whether you are a resident, whether you are a not ordinary resident, it will be taxable in all your case. So income which is accrued or arise in India or which is received in India, that particular income is taxable in all the residential status cases, all the residency cases, that is taxable. Now, the first two lines state that income which is received in India, whether or not, this is whether or not it accrues or arises in India, and when it is accruing and arising in India, whether or not it is received in India, in either of the two cases, we are having it as taxable in India. Now, the case where income is neither received in India nor it accrues or arises in India, both the situations are cross, guys, in that case also, it will be taxable in hands of ordinary resident. So, ordinary resident is the worst hit. Worst hit is the ordinary resident. In ordinary resident's case, all the incomes are taxable. All the incomes are taxable except for remittances. Subsequent remittance is not taxable. There is only one income which is not taxable in hands of ordinary resident, which is remittance. Only remittance is not taxable in hands of ordinary resident. Apart from it, all the incomes are taxable in hands of ordinary resident. So when the income is neither received in India nor accrued or arise in India, it is taxable in hands of ordinary resident and is not taxable in hands of not ordinary resident or non-resident. Then we have income which is not received in India, income which is not accrued or arise in India, but condition are not fulfilled, but business or profession is controlled or set up in India. Now, if the business is controlled or set up in India, guys, the business is not in India, the income doesn't accrue or rise in India, the business is not, the income is also not received in India, both the conditions are not fulfilled, but the business is set up in India, the business is controlled from India, then guys, in that case, the income will be taxable in hands of ordinary resident. That is given that in case of ordinary resident, all the incomes are taxable. It is also taxable in hands of not ordinary resident. In case of not ordinary resident also, this income is taxable. If it is not accrued and arises in India, it does not receive in India, still it is taxable in hands of not ordinary resident. Then the last case is income is not received in India, but conditions not fulfilled, but subsequent remittance made in India. So income is not received in India, but subsequently it is remitted to India. Then guys, it is not taxable in all the three cases. Remittances are not taxable in all the three cases. So this is a table, guys, which you need to really understand well, because a question from this particular table will come in the examination. This marriage is the crux which we want to study in this particular chapter. Therefore, we had studied the complex concepts which are there in this chapter. This is the crux of the matter. This is the final output of the matter, and a question mandatorily will come from this particular chapter. Okay, Umang Aditya is there. Umang Aditya, I think he is joined late. Umang Aditya, you were sleeping, you have woken up late because of Holi, I think. Okay, dividend paid by Indian company to person outside India who's a minor, then what will happen? Jyotish, even then it will be taxable. Even then it will be taxable. Okay, perfect, perfect. So guys, this was the conclusion. In case of OR, global income is taxable apart from remittances. In case of OR, global income is taxable apart from remittances. In case of first two lines, deemed to accrue or arise in India or received in India, it is taxable in all three cases. So this first line and the first two lines are absolutely clear, and they are very, very easily rememberable. Now what we are left with, the last line, guys. Last line is remittance, so it is not taxable in all the cases. This is also you are able to remember very, very easily. Now the only thing which you need to remember is these four boxes. So ultimately in this huge box you have to remember only four boxes. That's it. Only four boxes you have to remember. All the other boxes you have already remembered. You are already done away with all the balance boxes. So very simple way of remembering it, very simple way of portraying it. You will not actually you will not be confused if you remember this table well. All right, guys. So yes, this was the section on marriage of residential status with the types of income, and this marriage is leading to a definition of income, which income is taxable in hands of what kind of resident. Now, guys, we will see in the particular cases, in particular chapters, that if there are any exemptions on this income, if some income is not taxable, etc., etc. We'll see in those particular cases, which will be starting the 5 heads now. And yes, the next chapter which we are going to start is 5 heads. This chapter is residential status. It has ended now. Please remember that this Sunday, 7 o'clock, we have test of residential status on the WhatsApp group. You have to be part of that WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group is available on this number, 9643 929913. 9643 929913 is the number where there's a WhatsApp group. Please join that WhatsApp group. You'll be sent a link for the test of residential status. Entire residential status will happen on Sunday, 7 p.m. And yes, guys, from next week, we are going to start the lengthiest chapter, one of the lengthiest chapters of our syllabus, salary. Salary is going to be started in the next week. And yes, we'll be meeting in the subsequent sessions next Tuesday with the live session on salaries and the further chapters. I will definitely try to really speed up this revision so that you're able to revise maximum chapters of CMA Intermediate and Final before your examination. And yes, please hit a like button if you like this video, and if you want me to continue these kind of sessions, then do share the link of this particular video with your friends. Please hit a like button, because it motivates me, and it is really good to see the likes which you get on each and every video. We'll be meeting in our subsequent sessions with more such live sessions and revision series. All the very best and happy studying. Bye bye. Welcome, welcome everyone. No, Bhupen, salary is not a part of CMA final DT. Salary is not a part.